Hello, this is Mr. Jarrett, and in this video tutorial we are going to be modeling this object. So you can see I did write a note over here. It says the origin is located on the top of the object, directly on the center mark of the curved end or slot. So that means it's actually on the flat top here, but it is located right in the middle or center mark of this slot, which is also the center of this big curve down here at the end. So there are several different ways that you can do this object. A lot of people will go ahead and they'll model this as a rectangle in the front, they'll extrude it back, then they'll draw on the top, draw this arc and extrude down. I'm going to show you a different way, a little bit of a more efficient way and an easier way of doing it. So I'm going to pull that to the side and I'll make a new part in SolidWorks. I can go ahead and change my units to inches if you haven't already. I'm going to go up to the Sketch tab and get the Sketch tool. And I'm actually going to be sketching on the top plane, not the front plane, the top plane. So what this is going to allow us to do is look straight down at this, and it's going to save us a step of actually cutting this out. A lot of people will actually draw this, like I said, from the front, extrude forward and backwards, and then they'll draw up here, cut that out, add all of this. I'm just going to extrude down, and I'm already going to have that slot in there, and it's going to be cut out. So it's going to save us a step or two. So that actually means we can start right here by drawing the slot. So we want the straight slot, and keep in mind we're looking straight down, so we actually need to draw the slot to the left. So I clicked on my origin, I moved my mouse out to the left, and I moved up like this. Okay. Now notice I had the box that says add dimensions, I had that unchecked. Okay. Because sometimes when you add a slot in, if you have those dimensions or that box checked as far as adding dimensions, it kind of finalizes those dimensions, grays them out, and then you can't edit it, which is rather annoying. So here I have no dimensions on it. I can then go and get my center point arc. I'll click on my origin and move out. And I actually want a curve that looks like this. So if yours messes up like mine was, just move around until you get something that looks like that. Then we'll get our line tool. I'm going to connect, draw way over here, down until it projects right there, and then back to that line. Okay, I'll hit escape or the green check, either one. And then I need to look at some of my different relations. So anywhere it's a straight line into a curve, it should be tangent, like 98% of the time. So here it's tangent. Down here it did not put that tangency, so I'm going to select the line, hold in shift and click the curve, and then I'll make it tangent. Okay. And then I can go ahead and start dimensioning this. So dimension tool, it shows that this construction line is 0.75 long. Shows that it has a radius here of 0.25, and the outside is a radius of 0.5. And then we need to know the distance from here all the way over. That's why this is still blue. So it says it is 2.25 from there to here. So 2.25. Okay, so this looks kind of weird, but this is good so far. A lot of people here will just extrude this, but I'm actually going to go a step further, and I'm going to put a line, and that line is actually going to represent where this is. So if I was looking straight down at this, I would see where this thing stops. So I'm going to have like a little box over here. And when I extrude this up, it's going to be a square top, which I can use the fillet tool to round this over. Okay. So I have my line. I'm going to hit escape to get off of the line tool. And now I just need to dimension this. So from the far left line to that blue line, that is a total measurement of 1. Now you might be asking, well, how did I figure that out? Think this through. So if this is a radius, this curve is a radius of 0.5. That means from here to the center is 0.5, and from the center to here is also 0.5. Going across this is a total of 1. Okay, now I'm fully defined. I'm all good to extrude. So I'll switch to the Features tab and hit Extrude. And I'm going to select this region, and I want to send it down so my origin is on top. So I'm going to hit the reverse button. And here this has a total thickness of 0.5, as you can see in the picture. So I'll hit the green check. I'll hit Extrude again. It's going to give me this warning, just like I've seen in all my other activities. It's asking me for a sketch, so I'll hit the drop down, select my sketch. And here I just want this region now. Okay, so it says from here up to the top is a total of 1 inch. So that's from the bottom up to here is 1 inch. Keep in mind, we already did half an inch, like down here. So that means from this flat piece to the middle is ½ inch, but then we still need this top part, and that we also know is a radius of a ½ inch. So really what we're doing is we're subtracting this ½ inch off of 1, but we're adding this ½ inch. So from here to the top is a total of 1 inch. I know that's confusing. So 1 inch. Like I said, there's other ways of drawing this. This is just an easy way that I think. Maybe a different way than you might have approached it. So now we have that. We need to draw this little circle and cut that out. So you could fill these corners or you could cut them off. I'll show you one way of doing it, and then I'll go back and I'll show you the other way. So I'm going to get the sketch tool and select this flat face, hit Control 8 so it rotates around, and here I'll draw my circle. And this is one way that some of you might do this as well. You might actually dimension this thing first, and that has a dimension of 0.5, and we know from the bottom up to it is a measurement of 1, and it's centered. So that means if this is total 1 inch, that means this has to be a ½ inch over. So some of you might be drawing it like this to start, and what you actually do is you'll get your center point arc as well. You'd click here, and you draw up and around to there. But since you want to cut this stuff off, you have to close in that shape. So you'd have to close like this with the line tool. Okay, so you see how sometimes it gives you a little bit of warning here. It doesn't like to connect that, so I just drug that up and back. And now I have a solid shape there, and I have my hole. So this is more confusing than what some people do, but every once in a while you'll have to do it like this. You'll have to actually kind of trace that around and draw the negative space of what you want. So like I said, I'm going to show this in 2 different ways. I'm going to go to my Features tab and hit Extrude Cut. And I can select in this region, and the hole. And I'll change this to through all. So it cuts it all off. Green check. So that's one way of doing it. Okay, of getting that shape. Now I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. So you don't need to do this, but I just want to show you a different way. Say I didn't draw these up here. Say I didn't do this. So I'll delete all this stuff. Okay, say I just drew that circle. So I just have, oops. Oh, this went a little crazy, didn't it? So I'll fix this up. So I just have that hole. Okay, then I could use the fillet tool, and I could give this a radius of 0.5. I could click that edge and this edge, green check. Does the same thing, it just puts a little line up at the top, but it's the exact same thing either way. So 2 different ways of doing it. I'm sure you probably found a third or fourth, but this was pretty easy doing it that way. So I'll change my materials, and this is pine. Pine for me is a default because I changed it to that, but yours probably is not. So you'll have to go into Edit Material, and pine is a wood, so you have to go all the way down to the bottom, and you want to select pine. Hit Apply, Close, and we can evaluate this, and you should get 0.02 pounds. If you got that, you can save this, and you can move on to some of the enrichment activities or the next assignment. If you did not get that, go back in, try to edit some of your sketches, your extrusions, or your cuts, and try to figure out where you went wrong. Fix that until you have this complete.